All right, this is the Humans Grappling podcast with guest Jordan Wirth. How you doing, Jordan?
I'm doing great, Mike Lady. I'm doing excellent. Take
Awesome.
two, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah,
This is
you
the
know,
best.
it's
We're ready
iterations.
to go now, dude.
Right, yeah,
Trial and error. It's martial arts, my friend.
Exactly. So, how do you think about trial and error with martial arts? Like, how is that?
That's what all martial arts is, you know what I mean?
Right.
You're constantly learning, you're constantly evolving, you're constantly trying new things, and then fucking them up, and then we're allowed to cuss on here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
Just making sure. Just making sure. I want to offend the children at home.
Right.
But yeah, dude, just trial and error is life, is martial arts. You try something, you mess it up, and then you try it again, and you just don't stop until it gets better. And then once you perfect that movement or craft or whatever you're doing, you move on to a new one, you know?
Right.
The just nice thing about jiu-jitsu and martial arts is you never get to perfect it. It's constantly evolving, constantly changing. You can never be perfect. You're always making mistakes, you know? Kind of like life.
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting metaphor for life, right? So, where have you seen martial arts show up in your like personal life or daily life or whatever?
Everywhere, you know, like jiu-jitsu follows you off of the mats more than it follows you on the mats once you've been training for a long time and you really start to understand jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu and like martial arts is just carrying yourself, you know what I mean? How you carry yourself off the mats and how you handle situations, dealing with high stress situations, how you deal with you know, just conflict and stuff. How do you face the situation in front of you, and jiu-jitsu helps you deal with that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't even remember what you asked me.
No, yeah, no.
But, sorry about that. I got short-term memory, my friend.
That's fine. Yeah. So, like, is there like situations where, like, because of your like not necessarily application of the jiu-jitsu, but like the stuff you've learned from jiu-jitsu, like you've like whether the problem-solving skills or the communication or whatever you've learned, like not technique-wise in jiu-jitsu, and you've applied it to your life.
Yeah, man. So like I said, in like high conflict type situations, if somebody's like yelling at you or like pressing you, or it just allows you to smile and to talk to them nicely. A lot of what do the police call it? De-escalation. De-escalation. There we go. You know, de-escalating situations, maintaining control of what's around you. Well, like controlling yourself so that you can control what's around you better. Because as soon as you lose control over yourself, you're losing control over your entire situation.
Right.
So just controlling your brain, controlling your emotions, so that you can control the situation around you and act accordingly to it. You know, that's and that, you know what I mean, that goes on every single day, all the time.
Right.
Whether you're getting into street fights, which I don't get into street fights, but I'll give you an example if you're looking for a specific example.
Sure.
So I was just went to a haunted house last night with one of my best friends, Austin Punton. He goes by Aussie Blood. He's a freak show sword swallower guy. Look him up.
Awesome.
And I was with my roommate Matt, and we were driving up to his house, and I got literally 30 seconds away from my house up to the first light, and then this car pulled up to me, this truck, and they were sitting next to me. Nothing happened, and the light went green, and then I heard a honk, and they rolled down their window, and I was like, why? Like, if this person's trying to press me, why'd they wait till the light turned green? It's kind of strange.
Yeah.
It's a girl driving. There's a guy in the passenger, and she's like, hey, excuse me. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And then the guy leans over her, and he's like, hey, motherfucker, you're the motherfucker that's been speeding up and down the street. I'm gonna fucking knock you out, motherfucker. And I just was like, hey, dude, like, I'm sorry, man, like, relax. And then I just and then he looked at me, and he's like, fuck that, like, if I see you again, I'm gonna knock you out. And then I just smiled at him, and I was like, all right, dude, have a good day. And I drove up the street, and then I seen that motherfucker this morning, dude. I literally I seen him and his girlfriend, because they live on my street, bro. And it's not like I'm not a bad person. I'm not speeding up my street.
Yeah.
I mean, I am. I'm going like probably 30, 35 in a 25. Oh my God.
Right.
You know, send the police.
Right.
I'm very cautious and wary when I drive, you know, and I was in a rush to my friend's house.
Yeah.
But anyway, I seen the people this morning, and I walked my dogs by them, and the guy looked at me, and I looked at him, and I smiled, and I waved at him, And he didn't say anything. He didn't do anything. He acted like nothing happened. And then I just kept on walking, you know? But, like, a lot of people in road rage type situations, they get immediately angry, you know? Right. Coach Casey talks about, like, how you should be able to go to a bar and a guy should be able to fight you, and then you can make friends with him. You know what I mean? If a guy comes up to you and he's drunk and he's clearly, which the guy seemed drunk last night, by the way. He was, like, slurring his words and shit. That's what my buddy Matt told me. He was like, that guy's drunk, bro. I was like, yeah, you got to leave people like that alone. I could take him out of his car and pull his pants down in front of his girlfriend. Easily. But why? There's no point in that. You know, I do that in jiu-jitsu all the time, theoretically. You know what I mean? Not literally.
But you're not oil checking.
I try not to oil check too often.
Yeah, I'm just turning it down a little bit. It's fine. You're talking loud enough to like.
I do watch Turkish oil wrestling though.
Oh, to get technique?
Not constantly.
Not constantly.
But I have watched Turkish oil wrestling. I study all martial arts.
There you go.
So I do know the art of the oil check. You know,
I've
watched it extensively.
What kind of grip on the pants do you get something out of that, or is that
for the oil check?
Yeah, or not, or the whatchamacallit? Isn't that the one where they're like wearing diapers?
Bro, Turkish oil wrestling, it's crazy. The grappling community knows nothing about Turkish oil wrestling.
What techniques should we adopt from this?
So Turkish oil wrestling is the national sport of Turkey, bro. It's like a big deal in Turkey. It's Turkish oil wrestlers are like rich and famous, and like it's a big national part of their culture and stuff.
Wow.
And they have, I think it's like 13 kilos or something. It's very heavy leather pants.
Okay.
And they soak them down in olive oil, and they get all completely drenched in olive oil, and then they have to wrestle and I forgot exactly how it was. I gotta watch the video again, but I forgot how to win. But it's a strange way to win. Like if you're able to pick your opponent up, then you win. Like you don't have to take them down. Like if I could pick you up and lift your feet off of the floor and start walking around with you, I win.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And so, but since they're so slippery, you can't grab grips. And so the grips they grab, bro, they reach into the pants. Like, into, like, literally into the groin, into the groin area, in behind the ass cheeks area. And you can't see what's going on with their hand. And they claim they're not grabbing each other's junk, but, you know, it definitely looks the most sus out of any possible martial art in human history. And it's, you know.
So do we need to like adopt some of these grips?
I mean, I don't know them. I've never trained. I've never trained Turkish oil wrestling. I tried to watch some Turkish oil wrestling techniques. I couldn't really find too much on YouTube.
They don't
really have technique videos.
Turkish oil wrestling fanatics or anything like that.
They don't have a Turkish oil wrestling fanatics, you know. But it's interesting, man. If you can control somebody, I don't want to reach down somebody's pants, but if I can control somebody when they're completely lathered up and soaked in olive oil.
Right.
That's like the best. It's like the simulation of no gi being all slippery. You know what I mean? Especially in like MMA.
Swampy and
10th Planet open mats, bro. We're Turkish oil wrestling. We're just not reaching down each other's pants.
Exactly.
I mean? At least I'm not. I don't know about the others.
Exactly. That's pretty interesting because like as we like to say, fundamentals are fundamentals, right? And to grab somebody and be able to pick them up, like
they're doing high crotches. So they'll reach into the one technique I noticed. A lot of the times, how they win is by a high crotch. They'll reach into the pants with both of their legs and. I think theoretically grab a gable grip inside of their pants and then just grab on and pick straight up into their crotch and groin area and high, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
High C, pick them straight up and they win, bro.
There you go.
Celebrate Ost to Turkey. they're champs, bro.
Right? What
threw you off with that one, didn't
you?
No,
I was about to say, like,
you weren't ready for the Turkish oil wrestling.
How's this related to your aikido studies?
Like I said, I study all martial arts. I love watching martial arts. I just love watching. I don't like calling myself a hipster because I'm definitely not a hipster at all in any sense. I don't dress that way or like act like those people. But like hipsters do things that are not cool in spite. Like, it's like that's why they do it, because they know other people don't do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of me in
Sure.
that sense. You know what I mean? Like, I like doing things that I know other people are not doing.
You're contrarian. Like that's the cool techie word for it. Is like you're trying to zig where others are zagging, right?
Man, some people call it artistic, some people call it autistic. You know what I mean? You can call it what you want. Special, you know.
Right.
I know I'm against the grain. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
If people are going left, I want to go right. If people are
Exactly.
going right, I want to go left. I don't like following what everybody else is doing.
Sure.
And so I noticed that, and also I'm a stoner, bro. And so I like just sitting down and watching random YouTube videos.
Right.
But I also like there to be some sort of like relative reason or benefit in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the times I would sit down and just get high and watch jiu-jitsu videos. But I got kind of bored of that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I like Master Ken videos, right? I was in a Master Ken video.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was dope.
Yeah, with the buggy choke.
Right.
And I love like McDojo stuff, like just like bullshit martial arts, bullshido. That shit is hilarious to me, dude.
Right.
It is so funny. And that's how it all started out, was just like I got bored of watching this jiu-jitsu.
You watched all of the
I watched
jiu-jitsu.
all of the jiu-jitsu content. I got bored of watching jiu-jitsu all the time, MMA all the time, you know, kickboxing, Muay Thai, watching different things like that, things that are known, understood, that work. And I was like, man, I'm looking for just like not to be so serious. I just want to have fun.
Sure.
Just start laughing.
Yeah.
And so I put on some everybody. I teach at Legacy Martial Arts as well, and it's like a Chuck Norris karate affiliate school, but
Okay.
I run the jiu-jitsu program there, and I was talking to some of the karate people there. I was showing them aikido techniques, and they were like, what are you talking about? Aikido doesn't work, Jordan.
Yeah.
And I was like, look. In jiu-jitsu, we all laugh at karate, right?
Exactly. So
But-
karate's looking
But
down.
karate even looks down on aikido and laughs at aikido.
That's hilarious.
I was like, bro, aikido I get, as no matter what martial arts you train, you're laughing at aikido.
Right.
You're like, that shit don't work, bro.
Yeah.
The only people that think aikido works is the people who train aikido, those
Sure.
weird cultist members. But there's a
Right.
whole like, it's history is also my favorite subject, and then the reason why aikido does not work is because they don't actively train. They don't actively essentially roll. They don't train with live resistance in like real life situations where people are not letting you do the techniques. It's all choreography, like demonstration essentially. And so if like I taught you an arm bar and I was a jiu-jitsu black belt and I taught you an arm bar and all you did was drill the arm bar and then you never did it live, and then you got your jiu-jitsu black belt even though you never rolled or did that arm bar live, and then you teach a student up until black belt, the martial art is already lost.
Sure.
That's what's happened with aikido, and a lot of
see.
people don't realize that. Aikido once upon a time was like life or death. Like if you didn't, it was knife disarms. It was like samurai shit in Japan. If you didn't have a good knife disarm, kotegaeshi, like wrist turnout, you died. Like you didn't lose the match, you were dead.
Yeah.
The guy stabbed you. Your life's over, bro. So these techniques were literally life or death, as serious as things get. You know what I
Sure.
mean? It's not competition. It's not a fight. It's a fight to the death.
Yep.
It's if you don't do this technique correctly, you lost and you died. And these techniques worked for the samurais once upon a time, but now we all laugh at them because the Aikido community is doing them incorrectly because of the essence of the sport.
Sure.
And I realized all of this by putting on Aikido videos to laugh at.
Sure.
I was like, I'm gonna put on the Aikido video just for bullshit. I know this is bullshit, but I'm just gonna laugh.
Right.
And then I was watching some Aikido videos, and then this one guy did it, and the way he grabbed the wrist and the way he moved, I realized, I was like, man, you know, we're laughing at this movement, but the way this guy did it in this specific video, man, I might be crazy.
You
but that,
can't like laugh at
bro,
that.
I know
Like,
body
it's like-
mechanics.
Sure.
I know how
Yeah.
body mechanics works. Body
Yeah.
mechanics are body mechanics. And I kind of looked at it and was like, you know what, dude? Like, am I an idiot to think that might work?
Sure.
And I was like, nah, bro, this is bullshit. And then
Yeah.
I started looking into it more, and I started really, really going down the rabbit hole, just kind of like out of curiosity.
Right.
And then I started experimenting with it and using my friends and grabbing onto their wrists and like feeling what's going on. And I was like, oh, there might be something to this wrist turnout. You
Sure.
know what I mean? If you
Right.
look down at your palms, where are your palms facing? Inside of your body.
Yeah.
Make your palm face away from your body as
Yeah.
far as you can.
Right.
You'll notice that you're leaning over to the side. If you turn your thumb down and keep turning your pinky up and leaning over, you'll start falling over one way. That's an Aikido throw, right? I found some guys on YouTube that teach jiu-jitsu. This guy's like a Machado black belt, and then he also was training Aikido in Japan in the early 90s, and he was showing all the different wrist grips and wrist throws of Aikido and like proper functional ways to apply them. Elbows in, right? Martial arts concepts are martial arts concepts.
Yep.
Elbows in, bring to your center line. Right? Step in, step out, just like you're running the pipe on a single leg, right? Face away, the little directional changes, things that we are already doing in the martial arts community, in the wrestling community, things that are already understood and established that work, body mechanics, fundamentals are fundamentals. But again, because of the essence of Aikido, these things were lost, you know? And also, if you look at the two biggest takedown martial arts, it's wrestling and judo.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
In wrestling, take wrist locks and wrist lock takedowns where you're manipulating the wrist in order to fall somebody down, illegal.
Yep.
Judo, wrist lock takedowns where you are manipulating the wrist in order to get the person to fall down, illegal.
Yep.
So where the fuck else are we going to see these wrist lock takedowns? The only one that's doing them is Aikido, and we're all laughing at them. Right? Well, I realized one day, oh my God, dude, because of the way I am and history being my favorite subject and me going like deep into like samurai martial arts culture and like Japanese culture, I realized that Japanese jiu-jitsu is Aikido. Japanese jiu-jitsu is judo. Japanese jiu-jitsu is Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's all the same shit. It's
it all came from
It originally came from China, actually. From like old school. If you want to be if you really want to look into it, you know, but fuck China, bro. I don't like China, man. You know, if you're Chinese, it's not that I don't like Chinese people. Chinese people are awesome. You know, Chinese Americans are beautiful, but as Americans, we don't really like China. You know what I mean?
There's a little bit of
communists, brother.
Sure.
You know, I'm American.
Right.
But yeah. Anyways. Kung Fu was the Chinese started all martial arts. All martial arts come from China, and then the Chinese brought it over to Japan on their boats, and then the Japanese refined it, and then they made jiu-jitsu and aikido and all these different martial arts for the samurais. And then from Japan, it came down into a boat down into Brazil, and then they made Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and then from there they came to America and made the UFC, and then they made MMA. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's history, bro.
Sure.
But Aikido comes from that history, dude, and we don't want to accept that. We're like, no, it doesn't work. Yeah. They're weirdos. They come from a different place.
Yeah, exactly. Like
they are weirdos. They're I went to an Aikido dojo, bro. It's like a cult.
How was that? Yeah.
It was the strangest experience of my martial arts. Oh my God.
Did you have to suit up in the long like garb or whatever?
I didn't. They wouldn't let me take the class, bro.
Oh, really?
I walked in. They barely let me in the building, bro.
They were like, you intruder.
Bro, they all looked at me, and their eyes got all big, bro. Like I wasn't supposed to be there.
Did you have a jiu-jitsu gear on?
No, dude. No? I had just normal clothes on. I think. No, I did. I did. I did.
So
I had my gi on because I just came from teaching my own classes.
Oh, I see. They thought you were dojo storming or something.
I was trying to.
Right.
But I walked in there, man, and they were like, "Hey, do you have a mask?" And it's like not that long ago. I went in there a couple months ago. It's like COVID's over, guys.
Right.
You know, these people are still like freaking out about masks. They're like, "Hey, where's your mask?"
Sure.
And I'm like, "I don't have one." They're like, "Oh, you have to wear a mask in here. We have one for you." And I'm like, "Okay." And they're like, "What do you need?" And I'm like, "I'm a jiu-jitsu instructor. I'm just like interested in Aikido. I've been watching a lot of Aikido videos, and so I seen this is the closest Aikido school, so I came in here to check it out. I think merging the communities, you know, building bridges and connecting people, connecting communities that are usually disconnected is always a good thing. Yep. You know what I mean? Like cops versus stoners. I just did the cops versus stoners thing. You know? All of that, just building bridges, community. Togetherness is always a good thing, you know, bringing people together. And so I was trying to go in there and just see what I could do, you know, see what they could do for me, see what I could do for them, just interested.
Exactly.
And they were like, "Oh, well, I was like, can I try a trial class?" And they were like, "The sensei's not in right now. She's out of town, but what is your name? Give us your name, your phone number, and your email, and we'll put you on a list. And
put you on
the sensei will call you for your interview, for the gym."
Wow.
And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Right.
Like, holy shit, this is a cult.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro. This is a literal cult. Oh
Sure.
my, like, bro, the lights were off. They had a shrine to Morohebe Oshiba Osensei, the founder of Aikido.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy, bro. It was a very...
And they were practicing in the dark?
Oh my God, bro. They were practicing in the dark with just like the dimly lit room of the fake candles up on the shrine. It was literally a cult, bro. It was crazy. It was a fat guy named Chance teaching the class. Chance was very nice. Shout out to Chance. He was very nice. Very welcoming. The nicest guy in the room. But everybody else was strange, bro. Very, very... The older guy that was talking to me, like, just didn't... He was like, you can't come onto the mats. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Fine. But yeah, Aikido's very strange, man. They're a bunch of weirdos. But their techniques, once upon a time, worked. The way they're practicing them, obviously doesn't work.
Right.
But that's, again, if you did an arm bar and you never live trained the arm bar and you only drilled, and then you got a black belt, and then you taught that same arm bar that you've never done live to your student, and and you've never really rolled, and then you just teach your student an arm bar, and then that student gets a black belt. By the second generation, by you, it's already gone.
Right.
You know what I mean? But by the second generation, it's really gone. And this has been going on generations in Aikido. You know, it's been like, I think Aikido was created. Aikido and Judo were created around the same time. Aikido was created by Morohebe Oshiba, and Judo was created by Jigoro Kano. And then Jigoro Kano watched a Aikido demonstration in the early 1900s. It came, like, I'm bad on the years, but it was around 1910, around 1905, 1910, 1920, in that era, early 1900s.
Yeah.
And Kano, the founder of Judo, watched an Aikido demonstration, and he said that it was the purest form of Budo that he had ever seen. Budo is like martial arts.
Okay,
And
so circa 1910, like it was legit.
back when it was actually being done by Morohebe Oshiba is like a Bruce Lee type figure, bro. He's like, especially in the Aikido community, he's like a god, bro. Like he's like they treat that guy,
sensei.
bro. Oh, sensei, man. He's like Bruce Lee on steroids to the max.
Shit.
The way they respect that guy, it's hilarious. There's like a bunch of like old school videos of people running up to him and him like just throwing people to the sides and shit, and like black and white footage. There's like lore of like, hey, he's like the best fighter ever, you know. A lot of those ones where they're just running at people and they're turning to the side and just pushing them and they're flipping and flopping and rolling. That's
demonstration.
It's demonstration, you know. But there are techniques, man, especially like I said, the wrist turnout techniques. There's kotegaeshi, there's gokyo, there's sankyo, and there's ikkyo. All of those four that I just said right there are very applicable for jiu-jitsu, and they are very rarely used.
I mean, in the way, like, if you've never like seen these techniques before, like when you first put them on me, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like you're grabbing both sides of my hand with your two hands, like
Yes,
it's a
like 2-on-1.
like it's a 2-on-1. It's and your hands are
My elbows are in.
Your elbows are in. Like everything's like fundamentally sound here. Like I'm not gonna, like, you shouldn't be mad at this technique. And it's like you're holding a video game controller, and you're like, you get to pick what direction I'm going.
Exactly, man. That's what. I'm sometimes I'm mad at my brain, you know. A lot of the times I mean, I don't say it out loud, but I think it. Like, I wish I was more normal. Like, I just was like a normal person. I'm not like super abnormal, but I do. Like I said, when people go right, I just have the inherent tendency to go left. I wish I could go right, bro. I don't want to go left. I like honestly going left.
It's harder.
It's way harder going left, man. But that's just how I work, dude. You know. So this is one of the times where it's came out in my favor, and I feel like I've discovered something that isn't really being taken seriously, and it's underutilized in the martial arts community. Yeah,
definitely. And to kind of like re-emphasize that point of like, there is no like proving ground, or there's it's very underdeveloped. Like wrestling, judo, all these other takedown arts are like they have actual competitions, because
they're actually live training against each other. Like the beginning of the podcast, trial and error.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We need trial and error.
You need trial and error. As soon as you stop doing trial and error, and there's only success, and it's fake success, everything is lost. Everything's gone. It's all la la land now. It's not real. You know, and that's the disconnect, is because once upon a time this shit was as real as it gets. It was knife disarms.
It was the highest level.
People like to get any more real, bro. If you didn't do it, you died.
Yeah, the highest stakes. Like,
yeah, man. There wasn't any more thing to be on the line. It was the highest.
Like, you think people train hard for ADCC or EBI or
imagine if your life was on the line.
Yeah, exactly. Right. How hard would you train if the alternative was died?
Yeah.
Right.
And these are the techniques that people relied on hundreds of years ago, before guns, when people were only using swords and knives, and then you lost your sword or knife and you had to fight somebody. You're unarmed and they have a weapon. Well, I hope that you're training some sort of techniques that might be able to help you in that type of situation. You know, we don't have these situations anymore because of guns.
Right.
But guns, you know, guns won, brother.
Yeah,
guns changed everything.
Right.
The West came in.
Yeah.
They're like, oh man, we have guns.
Yeah.
Imagine being a samurai, bro.
Right.
How
and seeing
mad
a
would
gun,
you be,
right?
dude?
Yeah, you invested your whole life in this
God,
skill set,
bro.
and now it's over.
I honestly feel bad for them, dude. I'm like, bro, like they just dedicated their entire lives to learning this craft, and then they just came in and got shot.
Right.
Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you asshole, bro. That's how the Brazilians felt with heel hooks.
I'm sure. Yeah. It's how any incumbent feels about a new technology, right?
Exactly.
Like, how do you feel about, or the people who drove horse-drawn carriages? How did they feel about cars, right? Like, it's like now they're the horse industry
Those
is,
assholes.
yeah, right. or you know, like typewriters and typewriter, like people who specialized in that or maintain the typewriters. Now there's computers, right?
Exactly.
There's always the
old generation that their lives are built around that type of technology. When it gets phased out, they're like in a weird situation. You know?
Yeah, and they have to adapt or like not do so well.
But at least with normal people, when a new technology comes in, they just have to adapt to the new technology, and they're like, man, back in my day,
right?
The samurais died, bro.
Sure.
They got shot.
You know what I mean? That's the highest stakes.
And then the surviving ones, they got like pushed down a class, like they didn't really have a place in society anymore.
I see.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're like, wasn't the warrior class the most esteemed class or whatever, right? So they, even though like they dedicated their whole lives and like probably didn't have a pleasant life, but at least they were like treated well for in exchange for that. But now the deal was like pulled out from underneath them. So damn.
Well, that's the little aikido rant. You know, you got me going down a rabbit hole, Mikey.
No, dude, keep going down if there's more.
Man, dude, there's all sorts of stuff, man.
Otherwise, I have my boring questions, but like I'm all about like going down rabbit holes.
Going down crazy. I got a lot of rabbit holes, brother.
All right.
I got a lot of them.
How'd you get into leg locks specifically? What?
How did I get into leg locks?
Is that
how did I start realizing? How did I get good at leg locks?
Sure. Yes.
Which?
Either.
I was never not into leg locks, bro.
Okay. Because you've always been in a tough planet.
So I've never. When I first started training jiu-jitsu, I was training at a local gym in Henderson that doesn't exist anymore, called Sunset Boxing MMA. And Sunset Boxing MMA, just by perchance, their program was MMA orientated, and also it is expensive to get a gi, and it's just easier to train no gi. It's just more practical for MMA,
right.
And the gym had an MMA orientated goal, and so the guy wanted a no gi program. So I started out training no gi.
Nice.
And so I just grew up watching MMA. MMA was my household sport. My dad got his blue belt in 1994, and like I grew up getting put in like triangles and arm bars and rear naked chokes and Americanas, and like him sweeping me and doing all sorts of stuff. And now my dad was taught by a Brazilian guy named Gustavo Dantes. And Gustavo Dantes was actually the guy that Eddie Bravo beat the first round before he had his match with Hoyler. Small world.
Wow.
But anyway, my dad wasn't really practicing leg locks on me too much, but I was watching UFC. I was watching Pride. I was watching MMA. And leg locks happen. You know what I mean? They didn't happen a ton, but they happened. Even back then, they happened. And so I never had the idea of like there's any difference or anything at all different between a straight ankle lock and an arm bar.
I see.
It's the same exact thing.
Sure.
It's a joint lock.
Yep.
It's literally all it is.
Right.
I didn't realize that there was this like crazy Brazilian disconnect and like hatred towards leg locks until I got to 10th Planet, and I had been training jiu-jitsu for like 4 years, bro.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know.
That's
right?
wild.
I didn't know. I just a couple times I was like I was confused because I remember going for heel hooks and shit, and my coach, he was a purple belt, and he's like came up out of the Gracies, Mika, but I remember going for a heel hook one time when I was like 16 or 17, and he didn't teach me a heel hook. I learned most of my submissions on YouTube.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
I remember going for a heel hook and him looking at me, and he was like, be careful, be careful. And I remember looking at him kind of strange, like, what are you talking about, be careful? Like, I'm not
This
doing
is just
like,
a normal
this is just a leg lock, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to leg lock him. Like, what
Yeah.
are you talking about? And he like treated it exponentially different and like made some crazy facial features, and that's like the first time I realized. I'd already been training for probably a year, and that's the first time I realized like, oh, there's like something weird going on with leg locks. Like, people don't like leg. I didn't even really pay any attention up to it, and my coach didn't really say anything to me. And then when I came to 10th Planet, that's when I realized that there's this whole like anti thing in leg locks and the Brazilians in jiu-jitsu that was going on at the time for so long. And it was like, I think like Eddie and Joe was the first ones to tell me about it. You know, I was like listening to podcasts, and that's how I found out. I was like, oh, what? Like, that's weird. That doesn't really make sense. And then again, history is my favorite subject, and so I looked into it, and the Gracies tried to monopolize jiu-jitsu, and in order to be the best, you have to claim that you're the best. What happens if you're losing?
Right.
Oh, well, you have to slander your opponents.
And
you have
those
to,
are illegal.
You have to. They're dirty techniques. They're dirty.
Sure.
Oh, the only people doing these techniques are luta libre guys and dirty sambo guys. It's the dirty Russians, and it's the poor people from the favelas that can't afford gis. Oh, these dirty fuckers. They're dirty techniques. It's like what they did with fucking marijuana and brown people and black people and reefer madness. It was like there was this thing out there, marijuana, right? And in the early 1920s, this machine came out that was going to revolutionize the entire world and change all, that was going to convert hemp into paper effectively. It was called the decorticator. And Henry Hearst, or Albert Hearst, I always fuck his first name up, but fucking Hearst. He has Hearst Castle.
William Randolph Hearst?
That guy. Yeah. Yep, that guy.
I remember the Joe Rogan story.
He ran the papers at the time, bro. He is the media. He is the press. He prints the papers, bro. And so he's in charge of what people are reading, what information's going on. All his friends are in Hollywood, and now there's this new machine coming out that's going to cost him a ton of money called the decorticator that's going to have to change his paper mills into these hemp mills. And so what does he do?
Changing technologies,
New technology. It's going to cost me a bunch of money. And what's going to go on? How can I stop this in its tracks? Oh, well, I have a bunch of friends in Hollywood. I'm going to fund this false movie called Reefer Madness. What is everybody afraid of? Everybody's racist. So we're going to paint Mexicans and brown people doing atrocities to white people and smoking this Mexican marijuana, this Mexican herb, and everybody's going crazy and getting Reefer Madness. And oh, no, we need to make marijuana, not hemp. Nobody even knew what they were doing.
Sure.
We need to make marijuana illegal. Well, what did you just do? You just fucked the world, bro. We had this sick ass technology about to come out, but this fucking pussy who was afraid of spending a couple dollars just flipped the world on its head and completely changed history, dude. A lot of people don't know that, man. And that's essentially what was going on with jiu-jitsu and leg locks. Is jiu-jitsu's going on. The Gracies are trying to monopolize jiu-jitsu. They're trying to say, we are the best. There's nobody better than the Gracies. The jiu-jitsu is the best.
It's Gracie jiu-jitsu.
It's Gracie jiu-jitsu,
There is no Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
It's
only Gracie
It's not Brazilian jiu-jitsu, bro. It's Gracie jiu-jitsu. This shit's done in the gi. You know, and now they're losing a couple matches. They're losing matches to these guys that are catch wrestlers. They're losing to these guys that are luta libre guys. They're losing to these sambo guys. Oh no, people are starting to wake up and realize that we have a hole in our game. Instead of fixing the hole in our game, let's slander our foes and just paint them in a bad false painting, in a false way, you know. And so that's how the idea of leg locks being too dangerous or dirty or like a technique that you shouldn't do, that's where the whole idea came from, was because the Gracies were losing a couple of challenge matches.
You're right.
People don't even know that.
Sit back grappling. Like, whatever, at least 20 years.
Exactly.
Or
Set
whenever.
that grappling ton of years. Exactly. Yeah. And so, when I first started training jiu-jitsu, I was training everything. I was doing the truck. I was doing calf slicers. I was doing toe holds. I was doing straight ankle locks, heel hooks. I was doing everything, you know? And then, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I was watching YouTube videos. Shout out Submissions 101 back in the day.
There you go.
And then I took Eddie Cummings' seminar when I was a white belt. Casey brought Eddie Cummings in, or I don't know if he was just visiting town, but somehow Casey got Eddie Cummings in there, and it was a free seminar.
Wow.
And Eddie Cummings is just fucking murking everybody with leg locks at the time.
Right.
And so I came in and I took the seminar, and he showed like this leg pummeling drill and then finishing mechanics from Ashi for an outside heel hook. And that's really all he showed. And like how to what Ashi was, and like how to stay connected, how to finish from outside heel hook finishing mechanics. And I remember after I took the seminar as a shithead, like 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid, I was like, man, I knew that's why the seminar would be free. He fucking hid all the good details. He kept all the secret shit. He didn't really show us anything. I knew all this shit already. Like, I'm wasting my time. Like, like a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Just a piece
when you
of
have
shit.
Eddie Cummings in your
Bro,
fucking...
yeah. But I thought he was like, I was wrong, exponentially wrong.
Sure.
But I thought he was like hiding his good shit.
I see.
Like he wasn't showing the real shit. He wasn't showing the real, which he probably wasn't.
Sure.
You know, but I wasn't ready for the good shit.
Sure.
What he showed me completely changed my life, dude. I went from tapping, like I was a white belt, and I don't want to, fuck it, bro. I was a white belt. I was tapping like blues and purple belts, right? Occasionally, because I was a white belt for like 4 years, bro. I wasn't a white belt.
Dang.
So I'm a white belt. I was competing at the blue belt level and winning for 3 of those 4 years as well. Like placing, beating blue belts, getting first place on the podiums and shit.
Sure. Right.
And so I was a white belt, tapping purple and blue and purple belts, having rough matches with brown and black belts. You know, I wasn't usually tapping them. If I did tap them, it was like I got extremely lucky. You know what I mean? I caught them slipping. They were tired, some shit. Yeah. To where I was consistently beating purple belts and sometimes brown belts and sometimes black belts. Yeah. And it happened almost overnight. And all of a sudden, if I locked Ashi on somebody, they couldn't get away. They were fucking trapped. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, dude, this is completely different than how I've ever been training. And it changed the way I looked at jiu-jitsu and leg locks specifically, and that's when I started to systematize my leg locks. And that's when things went from a heel hook, right? Oh, I'm doing a heel hook. It wasn't even outside or inside heel hook for me at that point. It was just a heel hook, bro. Sure. I'm going to go for a heel hook, guys. Right? I'm going for a heel hook to I'm going from an inside heel hook from 50-50. I'm going to lock and secure Ashi Garami and then secure an outside heel hook from Ashi Garami. I had never had a thought process this way, where I was seeing it a position, as every leg entanglement as its own position. Sure. And once I had that mental change, my game completely just skyrocketed. I was like, oh wow, he taught me some really, really powerful shit, man.
That you didn't even know at the time.
I didn't know at the time, man. Like I knew it was really powerful, but I didn't know it was gonna happen like that for me. Sure. You know what I mean? I was like, oh dude, like this guy taught me some really, really valuable shit that just changed my life forever. And now, you know, people know me as a leg locker and this, that, the other. I've taken one Eddie Cummings seminar.
That's how powerful.
Shout out Eddie Cummings, bro.
Right? Yeah, where
right off into the sunset with Octavia Bourdain or Natalia Bourdain or whatever the fuck her name is.
Oh man. Or R.I.P. I'm wearing a
R.I.P.
Anthony
Bourdain.
As
you're wearing an Anthony, bro. The universe is weird, son.
Right? Yeah.
Strange, man.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's dope. Like, because when I was coming up, it was I came up under a gi school, and we were only limited to the submissions at our belt level. IBJJF like approved submissions at each belt level. So when I started white belt, couldn't wrist lock or whatever. And then when I got my blue belt, like immediately everyone started wrist locking me. I was like, all the upper belts were like, here you go. And then we couldn't, like, you couldn't even start to think about leg locks until brown belt.
That's
like you
crazy,
couldn't
bro.
couldn't
That's
knee bar,
ludicrous.
couldn't toe hold, and you couldn't heel hook like that.
The
like heel-
Gracie's got him, bro.
right? Yeah,
Man, hook, line, sinker. They brought that Gracie jiu-jitsu, brother.
yeah. It was an old school kind of like traditional jiu-jitsu place, and I learned great fundamentals from there, but I had to like mix it up when I came out here. I was like, okay, let me do something completely different. Let me come to 10th Planet, and it was around when Danaher Death Squad was coming up.
Oh,
so
nice.
I was like, okay, let me just learn these leg lock things, and I entered
These leg lock things.
Yeah, exactly. Cause
Not realizing the can of worms you've just unlocked.
and I didn't even really learn them until, I don't know, maybe even just this last year. Like I felt like I really started to understand them, because like the first week when I started, Doug was like heel hooking me and like straight ankle locking me. I was like, I have no idea what this is. Tap. Like I had no concept of defense to leg locks. But now like I feel like I'm more, I don't know, I'm not gonna say I'm good at them, but
You're pretty good at that. I'm a pretty good leg locker.
on
You're
a-
hard to catch in a leg lock.
yeah. So
You've gotten exponentially better this year at leg locks for sure.
On a relative basis, yeah, I'm probably better than the average person. So it's interesting to see the shift in, like you said, it's just another joint lock. It's a
joint lock, just like anything else.
And we're talking about how it's like the aikido of the feet, because like you're like, it's the end joint, right?
Yes.
Like we're trying to lock out the wrist in a certain way, and like eventually it's gonna break off.
Yeah, your heels don't naturally point to the roof.
Right.
I'm trying to make your heel turn out or in and lift up.
Yeah.
If I do that, you're fucked.
Exactly.
You're in a bad spot, my friend.
Yeah.
Your knee's gonna start twisting all sorts of wrong ways.
That's terrible. So yeah, it's good to like, even if like if you're out there, I don't know if anybody watching this would be against leg locks. I don't know. I have some old school jiu-jitsu people on my Instagram, so maybe it'll reach them. But like, give leg locks a try. Like, they're fun, and learning to attack them will help your defense. So it's like, you have to, even if you hate them, like you always say this, is like, if you understand the attack, then it just helps your defense.
So another thing is that you've heard me go on this rant in this speech in class before, but
Sure.
Another reason why, besides the Gracie propaganda of why people are inherently afraid of leg locks, is because they are so misunderstood.
Sure.
One of the reasons why they are so misunderstood is because of the Gracie propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are afraid of something, okay, so what's the biggest fear in life? Death, right? Death is the sole driving factor of all living beings. It's the biggest fear. Why is it the biggest fear?
Because we don't know.
Because it's the unknown, Mike Lady. Exactly. Because we don't know what's going to happen when we die, right? And that fear never goes away, because we don't know what the hell life is.
Sure.
We don't know really what's going on, man. Like, your pastor, your dad, your friend, your preacher, somebody could try and tell you and try and give you like consolidation and try and ease your anxiety of death. But at the end of the day, bro, you don't know what's going to happen when that light clicks off.
Sure.
It could be the end. It could be just...
We may see the other side. Like, we may get glimpses, like, going out in jiu-jitsu. Like,
there could be. What if there is no other side, bro? That's the fucking cold, dark atheist idea, right? There is nothing.
right, but like you went out in one of your recent matches, right? And you said it was the most psychedelic thing you've...
Yes, I'm a firm believer of energy is never created nor destroyed. And so I don't think that when I die that I'm going to stop. I think the energy inside of me is flowing inside of everything and has always been here. No matter, ever since things have been here, I've been here.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But I also don't know exactly what I believe. Sorry.
Alexa, stop. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
But pretty much nobody knows exactly what's going to happen when our lights turn off.
Sure.
And everybody wants to know. That's where religion comes from. And so everybody wants to ease their anxiety of death. Like, oh, if I do everything right and I follow God and I dot my X's and cross my T's, then when I die, I'll go to heaven. Well, How do you know heaven exists?
Sure.
There's like 10 other religions there's like 100 other religions that don't believe in heaven. There's a bunch of atheists that believe in science, that believe they're going to turn to dust, and that's it. Like this is all they have, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, pretty much what I'm saying is, the basis of all fear comes from the unknown. And the biggest one is death. And the reason why it's death is because that's the most unknown. And now back to leg locks, all right? People are afraid of leg locks because they don't understand leg locks. They're afraid of their leg getting hurt because they don't understand how exactly their leg is going to get hurt. You know what I mean? If you don't know how to properly attack the submission and you don't know the breaking mechanics and what goes where and why this happens and what's going on, like body mechanic wise, you're going to be afraid because you don't know.
Yeah,
right.
Because the consequences are extreme. Right?
There's extreme consequences, and there's extreme consequence because of your ignorance on the positions. If you don't know where to go, oh, I'm afraid. I feel like I'm gonna turn and pop my knee. Yeah. Well, if you turn the wrong way, and he has you in this spot, you might pop your knee. But that's not going to be homeboy's fault. That's going to be your fault because you exploded the wrong direction when he had a heel hook. It's not that the guy cranked the heel hook. It's that you fucking freaked the fuck out because you're so afraid of leg locks and you panic and turned the wrong way, and then your knee blew out, and now there's this stigma and stereotype against leg locks like, oh, they're dangerous. Oh, did you hear about John? John tore his ACL. Oh,
now he's out for 9 months.
Now he's out for 6 months, you know?
Right.
And yeah, they are inherently more dangerous because they're attacking ligaments and not bones. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And the other thing is because people don't understand the proper body mechanics. I've seen a Jean-Jacques Machado video where if you hold your hand out and you open your fingers up and you grab your pointer finger and you pull it backwards towards your knuckles, you will stop and you will feel pain. And you'll say tap, and your brain, your pain signals, your pain receptors will go off. It will hurt. You will not break your finger unless you're a crazy person, and you know when to stop. Now, if you grab that same finger and you pull it towards your thumb, there is no pain going that direction. Pull it towards your thumb or pull it towards your pinky, right? Pull it around like that way. There's no pain going that direction. Why? Because you're attacking the ligaments of your finger now, not the bones, not the joints,
not the muscles. The muscles aren't stopping you here, or the muscles are stopping you here. But then
the hinge is stopping you here.
Right.
The end of the joint. The joint and the bones are stopping you here.
Yep.
And that's why it hurts.
Sure.
But when you go the other direction, it's your ligaments and like your muscles and your tendons holding you in that spot. So it won't hurt until you pull it past that point. But we all know as human beings, if I pull too far that way, my finger's going to click. And after that initial click, that's when the pain comes.
Sure.
The pain doesn't come until after the click.
Right.
And so that's what's happening with heel hooks. They're like, and then there's also stubbornness because of ignorance and of lack of understanding of the position. People are used to them being typical joint locks where I feel pain. My brain's telling me, ow, okay, tap. Well, now you got to rely on your brain and your just understanding how your body works. You should know that your heel does not rotate towards the roof.
Right.
It's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt until it pops.
Sure.
But you know, if it push it past your range of motion, it's going to click, it's going to pop, and then after that click and pop, you're going to have extreme pain.
Right.
And you're going to be like, I hate leg locks. Like, fuck, dude. Like, you know, it's just ignorance, bro.
Yeah.
It's just lack of education. And there's, you know, those are some of the biggest things. The Gracie's propaganda, you're attacking a ligament, not a joint. You know what I mean? So your pain receptors aren't going to go off, so you have to know the proper time to tap instead of feeling the proper time to tap.
Sure.
And then
it's extra
ignorance, brother. It's everything I just listed.
It's a longer time to heal. Like,
yes.
Like if you're
the heel time.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah,
it's a heel time.
So like if
it's
you're
a different type of injury because you're attacking the ligaments, not the bones.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But you know, it's just.
And of course, like
grappling.
the gym owners are incentivized to not teach leg locks to keep people uninjured. Like,
you
right?
bring up another point, brother.
Right.
So
We're looking into it.
You look into it, brother. You have questions. You follow the dollar. You will find your answers.
Exactly.
Like,
Right.
always. The first one I was coming down to was the Gracies were trying to monopolize jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
Right? That's a great point. I didn't even think of that.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to scare people away by getting their legs popped or anything bad happening to them. And then so, yeah, that
They don't want to stop the memberships.
they don't want
for
to stop
9
the
months.
memberships for 6 to 8 months to get that ACL recovered. That makes sense. I didn't even think of that. That's
Exactly.
crazy, Mike Lady. Nice.
Yeah, right?
Good
So
conversation, my friend.
yeah, it's not like other types of joint locks where you can kind of like I have a bad elbow like now, but I can still do shit with it. You've got a number of injuries, but you can still train, right?
Yes.
But ACL like that affects your walking, right?
Yes.
That affects people's livelihoods. Like it's not just the gym owner like losing out on a student, but it's also like that person like if they
losing out on the livelihood of their life.
exactly yeah
The quality
like,
of life.
yeah it works.
That is another one too.
Walking to their work or whatever.
If you break your arm, you got another arm, you could still walk around. You break
Exactly.
your leg, you can't walk no more.
Yeah.
So there is there is a slightly more reason, I guess, if you want to put it that
Sure.
way. In order to be afraid of leg locks.
we're bringing balanced viewpoints to.
That's just more of the reason to educate yourself on
For sure.
them and so that you can protect yourself on them.
Protect yourself at all times. Yeah.
Exactly. If that's so you do train jiu-jitsu. Yes. Okay. Well, in jiu-jitsu, there is leg locks and heel hooks.
Right.
Okay. I agree. All right. Well, you don't want to get injured. You don't want your ACL torn. I also agree. Yes,
Yep.
I'm on board.
Right.
Well, you train jiu-jitsu. Check. You don't want your ACL torn. Check. And heel hooks and leg locks are allowed. Check. Well, you better fucking pray to God that you learn and educate yourself leg locks.
Yep.
You can't be mad at the game. Don't hate the game, right?
Right.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. You know? Get out of
Sure.
the game then, man.
Right.
It's like, oh, I love jiu-jitsu, but I hate leg locks. You're confused, my friend.
Yeah, sure.
It's all the same. We're playing the game of death, man. It's it's what happens. Educate yourself. Find when's the proper time to tap, and tap early. Don't tap late.
Yeah, tap early, tap often.
Yeah.
It's that try and fail.
Exactly.
It's that trial and error.
Exactly, my friend.
Right. So let's see. So what do you like? You compete a lot. You have a competition coming up, or maybe we'll see. But like, what do you define success? How do you like define success for yourself in all this competition? You're teaching a lot. How would you define success for yourself?
You got me at a loss for words, Mike Lady.
Right.
So I guess I could, instead of asking you questions, I could just answer.
No. What do you need clarifying on, or?
I'm not successful.
Okay.
What do you? So what you saying? Define success for me.
So
I have not achieved that. Is what I'm saying.
So what do you? So what? How do you feel like? At what point would you achieve that? What is the? You're defining yourself by saying you're not it.
I'm trying to become successful, and
Sure.
I have successes in my life, and
Sure.
I have things that I am very grateful for, and I consider successes, and I have successes in my life, but define successful, and the way you I forgot exactly how you worded it, but the way you were wording it, I feel like I hadn't achieved that yet.
Sure.
The way you worded it, I was like, well, I'm not defined like successful. Like what do you see as successful? Well, definitely not me, bro. You know what I mean? Like I don't make the money that I want to make.
Sure.
I'm still single right now. I don't have my family that I plan on having in the future. I don't have a school right now and teaching to my students. I'm not in the UFC yet.
Sure.
I'm not in the ADCC yet.
Sure.
So it's like, fuck, man, I'm not very successful if you want me to be honest. But like, if
like
those are where those what are my goals? Where am I trying to go with my success? What am I trying to be successful at?
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it into the UFC, and I don't even like saying trying. I'm going to make it into the UFC. I know I'm going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I've taken a little bit more time than I foreseen for myself, which is another reason why I I didn't want to say that I am successful, because at this point in my life, being 26, I seen myself in a very different set of shoes. But that's also, and there's nobody to blame at that except for my own fault. And so I'm been really trying to go grind and get into gear lately, and competing as much as I can, and just being as mature as I possibly can, being the best coach I can be, being the best student I can be, just being the best teammate that I can be, just being the best that I can be.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
There you go.
Because I've always been talented, but talent gets passed up when talent does not work hard.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it's never that I've been extremely lazy, but I, for sure, in my early 20s, I should have been working way harder than I was, man. And, you know, that's just me being honest.
Sure.
If I would have been doing everything that I'm supposed to do, I have full confidence telling you that I would be in the UFC right now, sitting at this table.
Yeah.
And I'm 26, and I have full confidence telling you right now, sitting at this table, that I will be in the UFC. And that's when, and even when I'm in the UFC, you're going to ask me that question again. Oh, Jordan, what are your successes? Do you consider yourself successful, or whatever you said? If I'm just in the UFC, I'm still going to say, no, I'm not successful.
You're not champion yet. Yeah.
Bro, I'm not even, because honestly, dude, like, I would like to become champion, and I see myself becoming champion, but I was going to say my goals and some of the things that I foresee for myself is I want to prove not only to myself, mainly to myself, bro, because I don't really care about, you shouldn't care about the thoughts and opinions of other people.
Sure.
There are things in this life that I need to do in order to impress my own self.
Sure.
And I am in acknowledgement that I have not successfully done those things, and I am trying to correct my errors and successfully do those things that I know I am capable of.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
So at this point in my life, I feel like I should be in the UFC. And that's, you know, if I did everything correctly in a fucking perfect world. You know, I'm not trying to be that guy, but with everything that was going for me, if I keep doing everything correctly, I know I will get into the UFC, and I have plans of being in the top 10 and hopefully in the top 5 and hopefully fighting for the title and hopefully winning the title.
Right.
Do I have to win the title and fight for the title in order to say that I am successful? No, I don't have to go that far.
Sure.
But I also am an acknowledgement that I know I'm going to make it into the UFC in the future, and I don't want to just take the short end and just be like, yeah, man, you know, I made it to the UFC. I'm here. I'm in the big leagues. Like, that's not what I'm going to do.
Sure.
I'm not going to be happy until I'm in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
I need to show the world and myself specifically that I am one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
And you're not one of the best in the world unless you're in the top 10.
For sure.
And so, you know, that's like a short-term goal. And even saying that, I almost feel a little upset at myself. Like saying I'm not, like, committing right now, like, I will be the champion. Like fucking Brandon Moreno, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I will be the champion.
Right.
You know, like, it's fucking, that's a really, really, really tough thing to pull off.
Exactly.
I'm going to go for that route. But I am fully confident that I'm going to make it into the top 10, and I plan on fighting for the title. I fucking hope I win the title.
Right.
But that's my main goal. That's like one of the things in my career-wise that I see for myself, and that I'm going to be very upset at myself if I grow old and I don't accomplish at least that.
Sure.
Is getting to the UFC and getting to the top 10 in the UFC, because I know that's if I, like, fell short. You know what I mean? That's like if I fell short.
Right.
If all the stars align, I'll be the champ.
Sure.
I'll be the UFC champion. But I'm also a realist, and I also acknowledge how difficult and how difficult that is to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think it's a realistic goal for myself. And also, I don't want to put that goal on myself and put that weight on myself and then get older and then forever be bitter and regretful that, I never became champion. I told myself I was going to be champ and I never became champ. Like, I want my goals for myself to be, I know I'm going to accomplish them. Yeah. I know it. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm going to get to the UFC, and I know I'm going to get in the top 10. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And so, another goals of mine is to open up my own jiu-jitsu school. I'm not doing that right now just because I'm not ready as a coach in my career yet, but that's something I would like to do in my future. Right. And then hopefully, you know, find a wife and kids, bro, and start my own family. That's like something that I'm not going to be, if I don't do that, at least, then if you're just a human, you're not really successful in life. You know what I mean? So fortunately, that's how life is.
Sure.
And so that's always the number one driving factor. That's the number one driving goal.
Pass on the genes. Yeah.
Pass the genes on, make my parents happy, keep my family going, keep my last name going.
Sure.
Normal human instinct.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. No, that's dope. Like I feel you on the, you're doing it for yourself, right? Like all those goals is like, you don't want to impress anybody else. Like it's not
exactly, man.
You want to, like for me, I want to win trials. Like that's my big that's my big goal. Is like didn't quite make it there this year, but
you had a hell of a showing, by the way. You
thank
did
you.
Awesome.
Exactly. But so it was like I still like felt good about like making it to like, oh shit, I went up against fucking Elder Cruz, like dude who was actually in the ADCC proper tournament. I was like, okay, like I'm at least at that level.
Exactly.
At that level. Like he beat me by
it to day 2 of the ADCC. You're in the top percentile of your weight.
Yeah.
You're at that level.
Right. So that was reassuring to see that. I was like, okay, this isn't entirely like I'm not like dreaming this, or this isn't like entirely like outside of the realm of possibility.
No, yeah, you realized firsthand training with the guy that's doing it. You know what I mean? He's doing what you feel like you can do, and then you get to feel him firsthand.
Exactly.
Which is another reason why I say
we train with the UFC fighters all the time.
I train with these guys, man. I teach them, bro. They ask me questions, dog. They're coming to me with, please, Jordan, show me this. You know, like
sure.
And that's not to toot my own horn, but that's just to be
you're being real about it.
I'm just acknowledging my own level and where I should be and compared to where I am at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Exactly. I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, I'm acknowledging that I am very talented and other people know that I'm very talented. It's just up to me to show the world now and to make sure that not even the world, myself. Yeah. Most importantly, I don't want to disappoint my own self. Sure. I don't want to grow old and grow bitter and then be disappointed and then not accomplish the goals. Who does? You know what I mean? Exactly. But most people do.
Sure.
Just the reality of it, bro.
You're at least chasing the dream. Yeah.
Most people grow old and grow bitter, bro. And they're like, oh, I could have did this. Oh, when I was younger, I could have been a pro baseball player. If I would have just done my shit correctly, I would have been in the NFL. Oh, man, I used to run this fast. I used to jump this high. I used to do this. Oh, I beat that guy and this guy. That's my biggest fear.
Sure.
That's not me. That's not who I'm going to be. And I'm very acknowledging that is the majority of people.
Sure.
And it's a scary just reality, It's just a scary thing to use your eyes and use your ears and look around you. How many people accomplished the shit that they set out to do when they were younger? Right. Very few people. Yeah. And Casey talks about it all the time. It's like a thief in the night between your athleticism and between your potential between your youth and your athleticism, and then your you growing old in your intelligence and your life experience.
Right.
And so they're constantly one's coming up, right? As you get older, your life experience is getting better. So the older you get, the more life experience, the more wisdom, the more knowledge you gain. But the older you get, the more your body starts to just go backwards. We're getting older, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then somewhere in between 25 and 35, the two meet, right? Casey talks about it all the time. Casey thinks it's 35. I think it's 30. But when the two meet, when you're at your athletic prime, and then your knowledge and then your know-how of life come, and both of them are very high, you need to strike when that iron is hot. And if you don't strike when that iron is hot, you're fucked. Yeah. You're fucked, dude. You missed it.
Yep.
You missed it, bro. Time doesn't go backwards, dog. There's time dropping down in the hourglass, and if you don't fucking move, it's going to move past you, and you're going to turn into that guy. Yeah. You're going to be like, oh, man, I could have done this. I could have done that. Well, you didn't, bro. Nobody gives a fuck. Shut up. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so that's like a very, very big weight, and it's a very concerning thing in my own head. And so I'm trying to run right now. I'm trying to sprint. You know what I mean? Anything I can do to get where I know I'm gonna go, I'm trying to do at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And that's definitely something that's I have that same feeling too. It's like why I train at 6 a.m. like 5 days a week, because that's when I can consistently work on the dream. It's like it's when I have no other responsibilities. Nobody's like talking to me at work, like wanting me to do something, or I don't have to, whatever, do stuff around the house. It's like, this is my time to work on my dream. And this is, I'm fortunate enough to like be at a gym where that's 5 days a week. Like most places don't have as big of a 6 a.m. program as we do.
Like I think very, very few places in the world have as big of a 6 a.m. program as we do. Bro. It's crazy. You fuckers wild. Get up that early and train with me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, bro. I wake up in my bed and I'm like, really, bro? They're going to wake up and train with me? Like, fuck.
All these people are going to show up.
Like, there's going to be like 20, 30, maybe more people there. Like, right. That's crazy, man. But it's humbling for me, and it motivates me to get up and to come coach you guys, you know, because I know people are going to be there.
Oh, shit. We've got it tomorrow, so we should probably wrap it up soon.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. I was like, okay.
For sure.
Yeah, it's 9. Cool. Well,
do you think I can give a couple of shout outs to my sponsors and stuff before I go?
Please.
So, shout out to Hardin Cannabis Dispensary, the best dispensary in Las Vegas. If you're ever in Las Vegas, come through. They got celebrities there all the time. They treat me really good. They treat other jiu-jitsu athletes really well. They sponsor me and a few other people. They're just great people over there at Hardin. So shout out to Hardin, and shout out to Synergy Brand. He's a local mushroom company in Oakland. Microdosing is a very, very popular thing right now. And they help me a ton. They help me organize my own thoughts. They help me control my performance anxiety before I compete. I've microdosed before every single tournament since June of last year.
Oh wow!
So any tournament you've watched me since June of 2021, I've been on mushrooms for. And now I have an official company to represent and to sponsor. So
that's dope.
Shout out to Synergy Brand. Nice. They've been helping me out, and thank you guys.
Awesome. Yeah. Shout out to Akuzo, my unofficial rash guard sponsor. But
they got some good stuff, man.
Right? Yeah. Super clean rashies. So I think we're done plugging people. But thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for having me. It was awesome. Great conversation today.
All right. We looked into it.
Yes, sir.